Hasina Bassano says, I wanted to know if I could pray Salatul Istikhara regarding Ramadan. I wasn't able to fast due to illness last year, and I wanted to fast this Ramadan. However, I don't know if I can. Would it be okay for me to do Istikhara in this situation? No. And Istikhara is when you have a choice between doing or not doing two things, and both are permissible. Fasting during the month of Ramadan is mandatory. But as Allah the Almighty says, فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. In ayah number 184, Allah the Almighty says of Surah Al-Baqarah, if the person happens to be either traveling or sick during any of the days of the month of Ramadan, where it is mandatory upon every male and female Muslim to observe fasting, but if they're sick, if they're traveling, they are exempt from fasting during the day, and فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. They just need to make up those missed days some other time, same number of days after Ramadan, obviously. And if the person is chronically ill, is living with this illness and sickness, and is not expected to recover, or at least it is known that this is a chronic ailment, in this case, they are exempt from fasting, and they just simply give the fidya. فَفِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. You will only feed one poor person per each day. You can do that on a daily basis. You can do that in the beginning of Ramadan by feeding 30 people or feeding one person for the 30 days. This is all fine. And that is a ransom for not being able to fast during the month of Ramadan or the mandatory fasting due to sickness. And you know that it's not expected for you to be able to fast in the near future, at least. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cures you and you're able to fast, that's perfectly fine. You can start from the scratch. But we're talking about ordinary conditions where the doctor says to this patient, you're hypertensive, you're diabetic, and you need to keep drinking water, for instance. You need to take the medication on time. And in order to take the medication, if it is tablets or capsules, you have to swallow it with water. So you have to break your fast. Obey your doctor. If this is something serious, and you're not blameworthy, you'll not be punished for that. Rather, the reward is maintained. Not only for the fard, but for the nafila as well. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا مَرِضَ الْعَبْدُ أَوْ سَافَرَ كُتِبَ لَهُ مَا كَانَ يَفْعَلُهُ. Whenever the servant of Allah falls ill or travels, whatever he used to do of the good deeds, of the acts of worship, whenever he was healthy, whenever he was resident, it will be stated and recorded for him, and he will maintain the full reward for it, as if he has done it exactly. Why? Because the person is unable to fulfill it due to an external factor. Now he's sick, he cannot fast anymore. Or since he's traveling, doesn't have a chance to pray at night. So the reward is maintained, even though he cannot fulfill. I know it is very hard, especially on people who are devout worshippers, who are very keen and anxiously waiting for the month of Ramadan to fast. Now they're hit with a calamity or sickness, and you tell them that you're exempt from fasting. The doctor said you cannot fast. You're dehydrated and you gotta keep drinking water. My mother just fell ill and she cannot fast anymore. So every time we discuss the month of Ramadan is approaching, she starts crying. I keep assuring her, don't worry, you will maintain the same reward, but she keeps crying because it is not about doing business that, the reward is guaranteed. No, it's about loving to do something that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of Muslims are like that. I had a student in the States who was an epileptic patient, and she was very practicing Muslim, alhamdulillah, but she had to take the pills on regular times in order to avoid the fits, the seizure attacks. So whenever she would fast, she would have a fit. And finally she decided, I told her that you have to take the medication and you're not blameworthy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cure you, but you have to take the medication. So I was surprised that she says, I take the pill without water. I know that it will still invalidate my fasting, but I'm fasting and I will still give the fidya. This is how keen she is. That she wanted to observe fasting. She wanted to join the Muslim Ummah in observing fasting. And meanwhile, she has to take the medication, so she would take it without swallowing water. Obviously, one doesn't have to do that. It's a lot easier than that. وَمَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. Allah wants to make things easy for you, does not want to make things hard and difficult upon you. That's in Surah Al-Baqarah. And this ayah is ayah number 185, in which Allah the Almighty speaks about fasting. يا من كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر. If you're traveling, if you're sick, just make it up some other days. Do not hurt yourself. Do not burden yourself. But I'm just sharing with you how some people love to pray, some people love to fast. As much as some people love to go out and dine outside and take vacations and go to the beach and strip naked and those people, as Allah the Almighty described them in the Quran, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. While the believers, they love Allah more than those people who love their false deities or love their dunya or love their desires. So there is a difference between fulfilling the ibadah because I have to do it. It is mandatory. I'm afraid that I will be punished. Or I want to enter Jannah and expecting the reward. These are all legitimate reasons. But the highest of all, I'm doing this because it pleases Allah the Almighty. I love to please Allah. I love to do things which will make Allah happy with me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our iman. So sister, if your doctor says that you're not supposed to fast, and this is serious, you don't pray istikhara. You just break your fast, take your medication, and feed one miskin per each day of Ramadan, whether it's 29 days, 30 days, whatever. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you a full reward for that.